Time now to take a live look outside. Check out those buildings basking in the sun. Looks like a great time. Colette is out enjoying her break, and what a week to take off. Pretty nice outside today. Sunny sky again today. Really didn't need that winter jacket. The temperature hovering around 0 tonight. We'll touch 10 degrees tomorrow though, so double digits. But a chance for rain in the afternoon as well. That could be what we're in store for on Friday. The forecast calling for a windy and rainy St. Patrick's Day. You can still spot the damage from that big ice storm that hit us last month. Scenes of uprooted trees and downed branches are common after these violent weather events. In many cases, the tree has to be cut down and removed, but that's not always the situation. Sometimes a tree that's still healthy can be left in place and straightened. The CBC's Victoria Walton has more.
When Marie McKenna bought this property in Milton Station in 2008, she loved the blue spruce out front. It grew for years outside her business, but since Fiona, the tree hasn't looked the same.
It created a lot of privacy in this location coming up to the front door, as well as shelter for the birds and that sort of thing.
People like Kurt Laird can make these trees stand tall again. With equipment like these ropes and pulleys and some elbow grease, he's saving trees that would otherwise have to come down.
We attach one point to the tree and another point to a solid anchor, but it is manual force. We have a lever that we pull, and it shortens the rope and brings the tree to the upright position.
Laird says there aren't many people on the island who want to do this type of work because the process can take years. It's not as simple as just standing the tree up again. He comes back often to check that the roots are growing, the tree isn't dying, and that the support ropes are doing their job.
We put the supports in, and then we kind of monitor them to make sure that the tree doesn't grow around those supports, because there is a lot of pressure on them. People, even in the trade, find it a bit of a daunting task, and and there's a lot of follow-up, which takes time.
Laird is one of the landscapers training others to straighten trees in a course offered at the Farm Centre by Landscape New Brunswick and PEI. The association says there's high demand right now, but not everyone can do it.
It's kind of a specialized thing because there's right ways and wrong ways to do it. You don't want to straighten a tree that's going to be constantly unstable and subject to blowing back over again. So there is a certain amount of expertise that goes into it.
McKenna's tree will have to wait until spring once the ground has thawed, but she's eager to see it standing tall once again. As for Laird, he hopes other landscapers can see the benefits of preserving the trees that are already there. Victoria Walton, CBC News, Milton Station.
Still to come here on CBC Windsor News Live at 6. Right after the break, more on the allegations of China's interference in Canada's elections. That's coming up next. The ongoing allegations about China meddling in Canada's elections has led to growing concerns about racism directed at Chinese Canadians. There are worries about a backlash despite decades of warnings from activists about interference by Beijing. The CBC's Lisa Shing has the story.
New photos.
After almost 30 years of criticizing Beijing, Seng Xue says she's faced all kinds of harassment from the Chinese government.
My cell phone number all were published online to the advertisings, telling that I am offering sex service. We had the hunger strike in front of
Despite several attempts, the journalist says Canadian authorities largely ignored her warnings Beijing was harassing her.
I kept silence for a long time.
With Ottawa announcing it's investigating claims China meddled in Canada's last two elections.
One country, two systems is a brave experiment.
Some vindication for those who say their warnings have largely gone unheeded until now.
Well, better late than never.
China accuses some people in Canada of spreading lies that it's interfering in Canadian politics, while the PM defends one of his own MPs accused of being involved. Allegations Justin Trudeau has suggested have racial undertones. This activist warns against focusing on race in the search for what really happened.
I think the first thing we need to be very sure about is that racism is not being used as a shield to deflect from the real issue at hand.
He says that means calling a public inquiry and creating a foreign agent registry. But there's concern that done without care, that could lead to more attacks and accusations, especially as anti-Asian racism is on the rise, a result of the pandemic and worsening relations between Canada and China.
Members of the Chinese community are quite worried about people may somehow label them as medium or agents of the Chinese government.
As the investigations continue, there are calls for that work to involve consultations with the Chinese diaspora, those who are, after all, the targets of the interference. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
We want to now update you on fines that have been issued to Canada's major airlines. Now, these were laid by the Canadian Transportation Agency after the holiday travel issues. Violations include the flight delays and cancellations last summer and in December. Specifically, they're concerned with failures to communicate with passengers during flight disruptions or addressing compensation claims. Now, fines typically range between $2,500 and $39,000, which some experts say is not enough discipline. The biggest fine, though, went to Sunwing, $126,000 for failing to keep passengers updated during the winter storm in December, where 67 flights were canceled, disrupting plans for thousands of holiday travelers. NASA has unveiled the spacesuit it plans to use for its next mission to the moon. The gear would be worn by astronauts during walks on the lunar surface for the upcoming moon mission.
And this is going to be a huge improvement over the Apollo suits. The Apollo suits didn't have many of these types of joints that we've put in this suit, so the astronauts will be more comfortable, have an easier time walking, performing tasks, getting down to pick up a rock or something like that, or use a geology tool.
The suits will be sleeker, designed for greater mobility, and the new helmet improves visibility. It'll provide more protection from the moon's harsh environments and extreme temperatures, designed to reflect heat and keep future moonwalkers cool. The final version will be white and made of mylar and Kevlar. NASA says it's aiming to land 2 astronauts on the moon's south pole in late 2025. That's it for us here at CBC Windsor News. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, for local news anytime, head to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor. Don't forget to check us out on social media as well, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And tonight on The National, a CBC News exclusive, Chief Correspondent Adrienne Arsenault talks with Lisa Laflamme about her controversial exit and her next chapter. You can watch that on The National tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on CBC News Network, 10 p.m. on CBC TV, and streaming on CBC Gem and the CBC News Explorer. Have a great night.